Hello and welcome to Sky247.net presents Not Just Cricket. Welcome, gentlemen. This is going to be a very interesting game that we have today. It's both of the teams against each other with a couple of Aussies as well in the mix. It's Lucknow taking on Delhi. Hi, Deep. Hi, Niall. Niall, where are you exactly?
Hi.
It seems you're taking this cricket show very seriously.
You never know where I'll turn up at a cricket match. I'll show you where I am. I'm at the wonderful Edgbaston Cricket Ground here in Birmingham. First day of the season, and lo and behold, it's raining and the covers are on. So this is perfect timing to do the show.
Welcome to England. And Deep, you're also at the game as well yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm at the game. I'm at DY Patil right now.
Wow. So you have all the inside info. Please tell us your opening thoughts about this game.
For me, I think it's going to be one nail biter. This one here, because obviously Delhi have got few of their guys. I mean, the main guys back in the playing 11 available for selection. Someone like Warner and Nokia back. Lucknow is looking in really good form. One of the only teams to have actually defended playing an evening game here at DY Patil. So they defended last game here with Avish Khan picking up those 4 wickets. So yeah, I mean it's evenly matched, both the squads, both the teams, and yeah, they seem to be in good form as well.
Niall?
Yeah, well, it should be a good game. Delhi, obviously, I like Delhi, as I've kind of said in the previous shows. I think they've got a nice squad. Under Ponting, I think he's regarded as one of the best coaches on the circuit. So, bit of a slow start, but they haven't played as many games as some of the opposition. So I like Delhi as a side. And look now, as I've said a few times before, they've started well and they've got a brilliant coach. Andy Flower is a born winner, a natural winner. So any team that he generally takes on, they have success. So no surprise that Lucknow are going nicely. As Deep said, this should be a cracking game, actually. 2 fairly evenly matched teams and on a good surface and a good venue, so it should be a cracker.
And of course, we have Warner, who's going to be back and has a point to prove. Deep, let's talk a little bit more about Warner.
Yeah, I mean he's back in Delhi colours after 8-9 years, if I'm not wrong. He started off this tournament with Delhi. Now he's back in that Delhi. And just an exciting opening pair, right? Warner and Prithvi Shaw. Well, you look at those numbers there, they are phenomenal. Obviously, last season was a very indifferent one as far as his performance is concerned. And lastly, even though in this tournament he didn't have a good one, but at the same time, playing for Australia, he was in phenomenal form. So obviously, a lot of things happened with him and the Hyderabad camp and stuff like that. Maybe that could be the reason behind those numbers you see 2021. But apart from that, he's a match winner. He's one of those bankers that even in his worst year he's going to get you 400 450 runs.
Now, do you see him firing all guns?
Yeah, definitely. I fancy him today to get a good score. I fancy him to have a good tournament. That's why I think Delhi are going to be right up there at the back end of the tournament. They've had a bit of a disrupted start to their campaign with players not being available. The players in the South African squad, like someone like Lungi Moody was in the South African squad against Bangladesh. Nokia was injured. I'm surprised he's back so quickly, Deep, because the chat was that he was going to play half the tournament. So they've done something miraculous with the medical team to get him fit. He is a massive addition. And for Delhi to win this tournament, Nokia needs to play a big part. So for him to be back is crucial. But David Warner, when David Warner has a back up against the wall or a point to prove, a little bit similar to someone like Johnny Bairstow, they are incredible batters when they've got a point to prove.
Yeah. I mean, so to both of you, if you have to choose between the 2 left-right opening duos between Lucknow and Delhi, who would you go for?
Oh, that is so unfair. I'm gonna go with Delhi, I guess.
Okay.
I'll go for Lucknow, Quinton.
Okay. Well, let's look at Lucknow. Right. Let's talk about Lucknow right now. So we've spoken enough about Delhi. Let's talk about Lucknow. Niall?
Well, yeah,
the team. They've kind of got their sorted, because
Yeah, they've got good combination. They've got a nice combination. Some of their Indian players have done really well. Obviously, Deepak Huda has had a good campaign. Experienced player. So they've played some nice stuff so far. Obviously, I was at the game when they beat Gujarat, the Battle of the Newbies, and obviously turning over Chennai. So yeah, they're going. Sorry, losing to Gujarat, I beg your pardon, and beating Chennai and Hyderabad. So I wouldn't read too much into the third game beating Hyderabad because most teams are going to turn over Hyderabad this tournament. But no, I think look now when you look at the auction, when you saw the auction and you saw the two new teams, both Lucknow and Gujarat, people who have a lot more experience than me in India in this competition that said that both the new franchises did really good business, both pre-auction, post-auction. So it's not always the case, when you get a new franchise, there's a lot of emotion going around. You're coming into a big competition. Sometimes you can be a little bit gung-ho with your selections, but I think Lucknow are quite meticulous with who they purchased and who they went after. They've missed out on a couple of, Mark Wood is the big one, I suppose, they missed out on. Brought in AJ Ty, I suppose. Question marks, will they miss the likes of Mark Wood as the tournament progresses with his raw pace? But they've got most bases covered. They're a nice squad. They assemble nicely. Krunal Pandey is a good cricketer. So I like how they've gone about it. And as I mentioned, I think Andy Flower has got a big role to play as a coach. And so far, he's doing a pretty good job.
Absolutely. Deep, also let's talk about another Aussie returning, which is Stoinis. That would be great for the team, and I'm sure they're feeling great about that to have him back on board. So let's discuss him slightly more. What's going on?
Listen, he's again a match winner. Obviously, Stoinis, he's had a fantastic last couple of seasons. Obviously, he's playing against Delhi, his former side. But yeah, I mean, if you look at his performances over the years, it's been phenomenal. And as I mentioned, he's a batting all-rounder who can give you those couple of overs, especially on these pitches that we've seen so far in this tournament. It has helped the seam bowlers a bit more. So yeah, his overs, maybe a couple of them every game, would be very, very crucial and handy. But I just have to wait and see whether he's complete. I mean, he's available or not because he was playing the series against Pakistan. So he's here. I know that he's here in the country, he's here in India, but I'm not too sure whether he's finished with his quarantine or not. So there is, a little bit. I guess it's a 50-50 thing. But if he's available, obviously he walks in. There's absolutely no two ways about that. And like I said, I mean, with the bat, he's a match winner, handy with the ball as well. So yeah, you can't keep him out of the game.
Absolutely, Niall. I think with Stoinis, when he's batting, you can put him in any order. But where would you like to see him? Which order would you like to see him at coming in?
Well, he's probably had his most. You go back to the Big Bash in Australia, and he had a couple of stellar seasons for the Melbourne Stars, and they they put him on top of the order. Glenn Maxwell said, "Go open the batting," and he churned them out. He got so many runs, but he's not going to have that luxury. He's not going to have the luxury here to open the batting. So, ideally, you want to get him in as early as you can, especially if you have that middle order that look quite settled at the moment. The youngster. Badoni's in there and Deepak Huda's there. So they seem to have gelled. They've got a nice little combination in the middle. So if you can get Stoinis somewhere, up near the top of the order and give him as many balls as possible, you don't want him batting down at 6 or 7 and being wasted. But ideally, his best position I would figure would be to open the batting because that's the most success, but he's not going to get that there. So I would try and get him in as early as I could.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's take a look at the numbers tracker, shall we? So as we know, Rishabh Pant is a tremendous player. Very, very, very amazing. But the main thing that I want to address is the elephant in the room. Is his strike rate a slight concern in recent times in the T20s? Deep?
I know last couple of years his strike rate has come down rather drastically. Yeah. But is that a concern? Maybe not. I mean, if you look at those strike rates 20 and 21, 130 and 28, obviously, I mean, much less than what he's been doing previously and also what he does for the Indian team as well. So I guess the captaincy, maybe a bit of captaincy and the responsibility that comes along with it. But you know what? At end of the day, I think he's a match winner. And one thing I must say, I think in T20, to a great extent, he's found his tempo, but I don't think he's found it 100% as yet. He's still looking for the right tempo to go in this format. So I think he's still trying to find his way out, and that's what it is. And listen, even though the strike rate is far less, but I still believe that he's a match winner.
Yep. Niall, do you want to add to that? I mean,
Yeah.
he does have Ricky.
Yeah, well, just when you look through the numbers, last year obviously the tournament bit stop start, wasn't it? So I think there's a little bit of that must come into it, and also when we went to the UAE last year, there were a lot of pitches that were difficult to score runs on, and he still churned out 419 runs. So his runs tally was still pretty handy, and his strike rate was obviously just below 130. So I think maybe last season was more of a circumstantial season, with the pitches and with the stop-start season. So I wouldn't read too much into that. If he has another season this year similar to last year, well then there's probably a case for him to maybe reach out how he's going about it. But I wouldn't be overly worried about Rishabh Pant because he's got that much ability, and he's got something in his ear on a daily basis to nurture him and to guide him. So as long as they're winning, as long as Delhi are winning, you don't really care too much about your strike rates and averages. But I suppose if they lose and you start looking at your own game, maybe I'm not entertaining. As long as Delhi win, if he strikes at 130 and wins the tournament, who cares really? So let's just kind of keep an eye on it, I suppose, over the next kind of 3 or 4 games. Still very early in the tournament with these players.
Okay, well, let's take a look at your choice of the players. Let's take a look at the fantasy tracker. Because through your list of these players, please.
Yeah, well, Captain KL Rahul, obviously, and Davey Warner, who I think is going to be very, very proficient this season. I've got the bull there. Prithvi Shaw's got about 3. Quinton de Kock. Evan Lewis, who played so well a couple of games ago, struck the ball beautifully. And as I've mentioned, Deepak Huda, who's been very impressive, actually. Jason Holmes is my all-rounder. Akshay Patel, Avish Khan, and I like Bishnoi. I want to keep an eye on him. I want to keep an eye on his speeds. I want to keep an eye on see how many leg spinners he bowls because he bowls a lot of googlies, which actually works out to his advantage. Bowling a lot of balls into the surface, going over LBW and bowled. So, pretty strong team. And my team so far in this segment have performed pretty well for me. So, long may that continue.
Okay, well, Deep, you're at DY Patil Stadium at the moment, so you can give us some inside info. What's the pitch looking like? You said it was a new pitch, right? You'd mentioned that.
It is a fresh pitch. Yeah. It is a fresh pitch. Well, generally, this venue has had a lot of bounce. The bounciest of all the 4 venues, but it's a little on the slower side comparatively. But obviously, the side boundaries are huge. I think one side is 76, the other is 69. Especially that 76 is huge, and obviously the bowlers would, or the batters as well, would keep that in mind. But apart from the pitch, I just have a feeling today's pitch can be a little too paced because there is grass, but it's not an even layer of grass, so might just be a little too paced, and it might help the spinners in the first innings a bit more. Yeah, the second innings again the dew factor. It's quite a big factor out here at this point.
Okay, Niall, the last 2 games have won by the team batting first. So do you think the captains will consider that at the toss?
I think 90% time you want to chase really. In the modern era, teams like to chase because what's a good score? Just listen to the Deep. If the pitch, is a little bit patchy, it might be a little bit drier in the first innings. As Deep said, it might give the spinner a little bit to work with. So you probably want to get used to it. You want to probably give a slow bowler something to work with first up. So I still think the preference will be to chase. And it's most venues you go around the world. Very rarely you turn up to a T20 fixture and think bowl first. Very, very rarely. Even you come to England now, you look at Owen Morgan and the pitch green for a T20. They still want to chase. They want to chase first. They want to chase because they want to know what to chase. They want to give the batters, you need 200 or you need 180, as opposed to going out and batting and wasting 2 or 3 overs trying to assess conditions. So I still think teams will want to bowl first, but it's nice that it's evening out a little bit. It's giving the bowler a little bit back.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Avish, who obviously has a point to prove because, going against his old side. That will be quite interesting. Deep.
Yes, it is. I mean, and listen, I mean, last game he was absolutely phenomenal. First game he went for a few runs, if I'm not wrong, but last game, yeah, there you go. 4 overs, 24, and especially his 18th over, he picked up a couple of wickets, including Nicholas Puran, who was looking dangerous, and Samad as well in that same over, in 2 balls, in fact, and changed the game around in that particular over. So I think he's looking in good form. Just spoke to him, very, very sweet chap, and I'm so happy for him because obviously he's worked really, really hard on his fitness, on his bowling, and it's paying dividends now. And and the best part is I asked him about the wet ball and the dew factor and all because last time around they defended that total against Hyderabad. I know what Nile thinks about Hyderabad as a team, but having said that, they did all right actually to defend that total. So yeah, I mean and he's also leader of the pack to a certain extent. The others, yes, you have Andrew Dye and all of them, but I think he still is the senior most guy in terms of local and everything else. So and he's doing well.
Okay, we have the toss update. Lucknow won the toss and have chosen to bowl, like Niall had said that they probably would be doing, whichever team. Let's talk about Nokia as well now, Niall, if I can get your thoughts on him, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Trailblazer, 150 Ks, aggressive, gnarly, hardened South African cricketer, a brilliant competitor, bit of a late bloomer, really came on the scene a couple of years ago, but he's had a brilliant time in this competition for Delhi. He came over as a replacement player a couple of seasons ago and hasn't looked back. 34 poles, great average, economy rate, brilliant. He formed a really good alliance with Kagiso Rabada for a season or two, but he's lost Rabada now, obviously, to Punjab. So it'll be interesting to see how kind of Nokia bears up now without his compatriot alongside him. But yeah, anyone can ball 150 kilometers an hour is an absolute asset, like Lockie Ferguson is. Gujarat, you need them in your team to win a tournament. You need someone who can ball 145 plus. It's highly unlikely teams win without someone who can ball 145 plus and have good wrist spinners. So the fact that they've got such a quality bowler back, as I said, back sooner than expected, it's a massive plus. It's almost he's a player and a half in himself. On his day, he can win you a game. And I think, as Deep said a couple of shows ago, you're looking for your overseas player to win you 3 matches. You retain, pay big money. Just win me 3 games. Win me 2 or 3 games, and that's the fee almost paid off. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a big input straight away.
Deep, what makes him special apart from his pace? What's that USP?
I think obviously with the pace, his accuracy as well. I mean, like Lockie Ferguson, anyway, it's rare to get a bowler who can bowl at 150. But we saw the other night, Umran Malik, he was bowling at 150, but he wasn't accurate enough. So that's where, I mean, yes, pace can be your friend, but can also be your enemy if you're not accurate enough. You have enough smart cricketers, experienced cricketers who know how to use pace as well. But that's the thing with Nokia. He is extremely accurate. And we looked at his economy as well. Obviously, he's a wicket taker. His economy rate is superb. So that just tells you how good he is because he bowls those tough ones. He bowls in the death. He bowls in the first 6. Even then, he's going less than 8. He's around 7.5. And also his slower one, he bowls around 115 or 120, maybe 115ish, and the quicker one is 150. So the difference of 35 kilometers is a huge thing, right? So suddenly you're facing 150, and the next one is 115. So the difference is so huge that it makes life that much more difficult for the batters.
The Manish Pandey, we've just found out, has been replaced by K. Gautam. He was struggling, as you know. What do you think about this change that's happened?
That would also mean if Gautam's come in, that might mean Stoinis in place of Sai or someone like that. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, quickly going to Manisha. Yeah, I mean, he got a few chances. Unfortunately, didn't capitalize. And I also think the fact that there was this strategy to get in a left-hand, right-hand combination all the time at the crease. So Lewis would come at 3 depending on who got out, whether it's Kale or Quinton de Kock. So I don't think that is something that Manish is very comfortable with. He prefers to bat at number three. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate because he is a gun player. He's done really well in the past few years for Hyderabad batting at number three. Yeah, but unfortunately, I guess he's got to make way.
Yeah, there's so much uncertainty. No matter how good you are, how this just happens last minute. I don't know.
Yeah,
How does?
but Karishma, you know what? But that's the name of the game. I mean, you've got to be
Yeah.
flexible as a captain, as a player, because things move so fast, and you've got to be. I mean, that's one of the things, one of the most challenging things in this format is being open to various situations and various roles. So yeah, I mean that's why I think you need to be really flexible in your thought process.
Okay, so we have a couple of changes for Delhi. I believe Warner in, and Ansar Faraz Khan. Niall,
Oh
these are
yeah,
the
that's
that we have for the.
Deep as purring there. Deep as purring. You like that?
I like the surprise. See, Warner and Nokia was always going to happen, right? You were expecting that, but Surfaraz, I really like that change because obviously Mandeep Singh's been batting at number 3 and 4. He's been around for 9, 10 years, but he still hasn't made that kind of a mark. On the other hand, you've got Surfaraz, and this is Surfaraz 2.0. In the last year or the last 6 odd games in first class cricket, he scored more than 1,000 runs. I think he's got a triple hundred. He's got a couple of double hundreds. He's scoring runs for fun in first class cricket. So he's in great form.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he's been given a second chance and hopefully top of the order where Mandeep was batting maybe. So yeah, that's really really good signs there. I like that.
And the fizz with the ball. What a beautiful couple of overseas quicks. Mustafa Rahman from Bangladesh and Anrik Norkia. So and Kuldeep. Let's not underestimate Kuldeep. He's had a bit of a resurgence, which is nice after a difficult season or two. So Delhi I think Delhi got a lovely team. Once they click and get into a bit of rhythm, I think they're going to be a pretty strong side to compete against. So I'm expecting a difficult encounter for Lucknow. The only thing I'll say probably in Lucknow's advantage maybe is that Warner, he's just flown in, done 3 days isolation, he's had a net and he's going out to play. And also Norkia, how many overs has he got under his belt leading into this fixture?
Okay, well, we're going to discuss this again. Deep, do you want?
Sorry, Karishma, can I, just quickly add to that Lucknow thing? So there is only that one change, and it's a tactical one. So Manish is out and Krishna Gautam. There are no more changes. I was thinking if Tonis was available, obviously he's not. So that would mean that obviously Lewis is settled at 3 because obviously now they've got Jason Holder and Krishna Gautam can obviously give you overs. He's a bowler who can bat and can finish games. He has that reputation for hitting big sixes. So I think that's more tactical, I guess, than trying to use the depth in batting more. So they've got a off spinning all rounder in place of an out and out batter.
Yep. We're going to get back to this. Let's quickly take a look at what's buzzing in the social media world in our social tracker. Let's take a look. First, a tweet from King Khan himself. I want to dance. I can't hug you like the whole team did. We know that the whole social media will be buzzing about wonderful Pat Cummins yesterday. So let's see. But dear, okay, next one. Did heaps of work in the Sydney Thunder, Sixers, and Nets on his batting back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Sams.
Next, KK Pat Cummins every single time. Batsman hai tu batsman hai tu pata nahi. Oh wow. Virendra Sehwag has the Vada Pav reference.
Keenlier. Pat Cummins was the most insane discipline. I think that's so true. That is so true.
These were their last night? Take us through that.
Yeah. Oh, geez. I mean, I'm so lucky and privileged to not just be there to call those runs there. It was on air at that point in time, and it was just phenomenal. It's just pure crisp hitting from Pat Cummins. He did not mistime any of those. He did not get them off the edges, or it just got everything out of the middle. 14 ball 50, and he finished what, 15 ball 56. So yeah, I mean to be honest, till that 15th over, till the 14th, 15th over, we're like, oh, this game might be close because it was a kind of a tacky pitch, not the easiest pitch to bat on, and he just made it look so easy, and I mean everyone else was struggling on that pitch. I wouldn't say struggling, but wasn't that easy. But he just came in and just did what he did, and like I said, I haven't seen such clean hitting in a long time.
Yeah. Niall, it almost seems like he stole Russell's bat yesterday with the way he was batting away Corey.
Yeah, well, I was watching the game, and when Deep came on commentary, I pressed mute. So I
like you always do, yeah. Like most of the people do, anyways.
Amazing, absolutely amazing hitting. But one of those tweets is quite interesting. I think it was Jared Kimber said that a couple of years ago in the Sydney Thunder camp, Pat Cummins did a lot of practice on his batting, and Daniel Sams was a fringe bro. Well, Daniel Sams needs to go back and practice his bowling, because that was so. Take nothing away from the hitting, Deep, but the bowling was dreadful, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he, to be very honest, missed the length every single ball, and he was punished. But I mean, obviously, he tried the slower, didn't work, was in the arc again, tried the Yorker, was not bowled properly, missed the target again, and was punished. I mean, listen, I mean, it was a combination of superb hitting and some very average bowling.
Yeah, 35 runs in that over. Now it's my favorite time of the show. Let's take a look at our trivia tracker.
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's see which wicket keeper comes out on top tonight. Let's take a look.
Manish Pandey, Warner. Manish Pandey and Warner.
No. Niall?
No?
Oh, my God.
Warner is for sure one of them.
KL?
2.
KL or who?
Both are wrong. It's Stoinis and Warner.
Stoinis and Warner. Okay, at least I got one of them.
I don't see Stoinis there. I just don't see it.
I think he's there. I mean, random, but he's there.
Oh, Stoin.
Yeah, we want to make it a bit difficult, not easy. Okay, next. Who is the first Indian bowler to have 2 international hat tricks?
Harbhajan?
Wrong. Deep?
2
international hat tricks. What did you say?
Kuldeep.
Ooh, yes, you're right.
Kuldeep.
Right.
There we go.
Who are they against? Who again?
Australia and the West Indies.
Oh, nice.
Last Deep is in the lead. Next. DY Patil Stadium has also been home ground for which Indian football?
Pune Football Club.
Wrong.
Mumbai FC.
Yes.
What? Oh,
that was the other option. I mean, there could have been only 2 teams, either Pune or the Mumbai FC.
You managed to lose again.
Oh, I'm like Hyderabad in this segment.
You really don't like that team, do you, Niall?
And that kit is all orange. Oh no.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Let's see what our poll has to say. Which opening combo will be more destructive tonight? Warner, Shaw, 61%, and KL and de Kock is 39%. So let me get final thoughts before I let you both gentlemen go to watch the game. Teams that you're rooting for.
Right. Go on then, Niall.
Well, I'm going to go for Delhi. I think they've got a good side. The two of their biggest guns are back. Always nice when you get two of your star players back in. So I'm going to go for Delhi tonight. I think they've got a good team. Lucknow a good side, but I'll back Delhi tonight.
Okay, and Deep?
Well, I would like to go with Delhi, but obviously because Niall is for Delhi, I'd say Lucknow.
Fine. Okay.
And listen,
we will
they're
reveal
chasing
the
as well, so
answer
that
again.
should help.
Maybe Niall will win. See you, gentlemen, later on. Take care, and we'll see our lovely viewers again very shortly at the end of the game. Do join us. Take care and bye.